Everyone, welcome to the FAA podcast. Happy trade deadline day. Um, it's a great day. A lot of stuff going on. Had a great weekend of football, both college and NFL. Some upsets, and of course the first college football playoff rankings also being announced tonight. I believe that's 8 p.m. Eastern. Could be wrong. Don't exactly know, but whatever. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern, though. I'm fact checking. Uh, but anyways, let's roll through. We'll get you all the trade deadline deals after we recap the weekend of football. Starting with Friday, FAU rolling over Charlotte 38-16. Good win for Coach Herman and the Owls there to get to 500. Daniel Richardson for FAU, the Central Michigan transfer, 19 to 26, 73.1%, 218, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Charlotte, I guess FAU also had Michael Johnson Jr. come in late. Missed his only pass, 0 for 1 passing, but 5 carries, 45 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Charlotte played 3 quarterbacks. Trexler Ivy, 8 of 15. 8 of 15, 53.3%, 68 yards, a touchdown. Jalen Jones, 9 of 14, 64.3%, 59 yards, 12 carries for 38 yards. And then Dom Schaffner, 4 of 6, 66.7%, 37 yards, 2 carries for 29 yards. Charlotte running back Teron Kelman led the game in rushing, 20 carries, 83 yards. And FAU's wide receiver LaJonte Wester, massive night for him, 10 catches, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, I'm going to go – they screwed up ESPN. This was another instance of ESPN screwing up their defensive stats. I'm going to go with FAU defensive lineman Jaden Wheeler, 2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. FAU minus 3.5 covers easily, over 45.5. Saturday, number 4 Florida State, continuing to be unbeaten, destroying Wake Forest 41-16. Jordan Travis continues to be squarely in the Heisman race, 22 of 35, 62.9%, 359, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries for 29 yards and a rushing score. Tate Rodemaker came in, completed his only pass for 23 yards as well. Mitch Griffiths, his return to the lineup after being injured for the Demon Deacs, 6 of 16, 37.5%, 82 yards. Wake Forest running back Justice Ellison led the game in rushing, 10 carries, 77 yards. How about a 100-yard receiving day for Florida State running back Trey Benson, 10 carries, 55 yards, a touchdown on the ground, and 4 catches, 100 yards even, and a touchdown through the air as well. Wake Forest wide receiver Keyshawn Williams had a rushing 2-yard rushing score. Florida State wide receiver Keon Coleman leading the game in receiving, 7 catches, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, I'm going to go with the man, the projected first-round pick next year, Florida State defensive lineman Jared Verse, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. FSU covers minus 21, over 53.5. Yeah. Woo! Lone Wolf, Oklahoma, they should have won this game. Kansas upsetting number 6 Oklahoma 38-33 to Oklahoma's defense. It was in Lawrence. It wasn't in Norman, so it was a road game against a good opponent. But yeah, Oklahoma undefeated no more. See where they rank in the CFP tonight. But Jason Bean, I wasn't wrong on Jason Bean, though. I said he wasn't as good as Jalen Daniels, and he's not, as you can see. 15 of 32, 46.9%, 218, 2 picks, 4 carries for 62 yards and touchdown. Dylan Gabriel struggled, super efficient, 14 of 19, 73.7%. 171. The interception was essentially how they lost the game. That was the first score of the day. It was a pick six. That was absolutely terrible throw by Dylan Gabriel. Late to the outside. That's the biggest mistake you can make as a quarterback. 14 carries, 64 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns, though, to try to make up for it. Oklahoma running back Tawee Walker, a part of a 200-yard rusher day between the two teams. 23 carries, 146 yards, a touchdown. Devin Neal for Kansas also over 125 carries, 112 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches for 12 yards as well. His teammate, Daniel Highshaw Jr., 2-touchdown day for him, 12 carries, 51 yards, 2 scores, and a 9-yard reception. Kansas wide receiver Lawrence Arnold leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 79 yards. And defensively, got to go with the pick six. Kansas corner Mello Dotson, 1 tackle, and a 37-yard pick six. KU covers or +7. They went outright over 66.5. 71 in that game. Not the highest of the weekend, which is ridiculous. Number 10, Penn State beating Indiana 33-24. Slow game for PSU, but got it done in the end. And finally got a deep shot from Drew Aller, so that was nice to see. Brendan Sorsby for the Hoosiers, 13 and 19, 68.4%, 269, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Career day for Sorsby. It's just an odd game. I don't know what was happening, but anyways. Drew Aller, though, 20 of 31, 64.5%, 210, 3 touchdowns and a pick. His first interception, by the way, in 301 pass attempts, I believe. He had the longest – I can't remember if it was the longest streak in FBS history or just the longest active streak. But anyways, I think it was the longest streak in FBS history to start a career. And then I think it was just the longest active streak in terms of any time during a player's college career. Katron Allen leading the game in rushing for the Nittany Lions, 18 carries, 81 yards, 2 catches for 13 yards. Indiana wide receiver DeCuse Carter, 100-yard day, 3 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. And then defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy there. Indiana defensive back Nick Toomer, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. Indiana +31 covers easily. Over 45 also pretty easily. Go Dogs. Number 1, Georgia, 8-0, 43-20 drubbing of Florida. And the only reason it was even that close because Florida scored late. But yeah, Georgia wanted to make a statement to the College Football Playoff Committee that they should be number 1. I think they did that without Brock Bowers in the lineup. Carson Beck was fantastic all day. The defense was lights out. They had I think 5 or 6 sacks on Graham Mertz. So yeah, excellent day for the Dogs in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Carson Beck mentioned 19 of 28, 67.9%, 315, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries for 10 yards. Graham Mertz, decent day, even by losing by how much they did. 25 of 34, 73.5%, 230, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and a fumble. Georgia running back Dejon Edwards, a couple yards short of 100, 15 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 3-yard reception. Big day receiving by Georgia wide receiver Ladd McConkey. He was the guy, one of the guys, but probably the main guy that needed to step up in the absence of Brock Bowers, and he did just that. 6 catches, 135 yards, a touchdown. Ricky Pearsall for Florida, 1 yard short of 100, 6 for 99. And then defensively, I got to go with probably the bottom guy there, Florida corner Jason Marshall Jr., 2 tackles, both of them solos, 1 tackle for loss, 3 pass deflections. Georgia minus 14 covers over 50. Number 7, Texas beating up on BYU 35-7. Keaton Slovis for the Cougars, 25 of 40, 62.5%, 197, 2 picks and a fumble. Tough day for Slovis there. Texas starting quarterback Malik Murphy. I misspoke on Friday, saying I believe I said he's like a junior. He's actually a redshirt freshman, so a little bit off there. But we got it corrected now. 16 of 25 for Murphy, 64%, 170, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and a fumble. So, of course, first career start, have some ups and downs, but overall, decent day for him, I think. And then he really didn't have to do it all by himself because he's got a dog, as Pat McAfee likes to say, a dog back in the backfield, and Jonathan Brooks. He is just a sophomore. Do I want to keep like getting guys' classifications wrong?
Maybe.
Should I just keep rolling?
Keep rolling. Who knows?
No, I know. I knew that one was right. Yeah, I knew that one was right. But anyways, 16 carries, 98 yards, a touchdown to lead the game in rushing, 4 catches, 40 yards through the air as well. Leading the game in receiving, BYU's wide receiver Darius Lassiter, 5 catches, 75 yards. 2 touchdown day for Georgia transfer wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. This is his second season at Texas. 3 catches, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then how about Xavier Worthy for the Longhorns? 4 catches, 27 yards, and a 74-yard punt return touchdown. Defensively, I'm going to go with BYU safety Crew Walkley. How about that? For a name. 9 tackles, 3 of them solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a pick. I think he needs to come on the show because we call ourselves the Crew. And his name is Crew, so makes sense. Texas minus 20.5 covers. I was wrong on that one. I thought BYU would put up more of a fight, especially with a new starting quarterback for the Horns, but wrong. Under 48.5. How about number 8, Oregon, putting it on number 13, Utah, 35-6. Just complete domination for Oregon, and they are squarely in this Pac-12. I think they're clearly the top team in the Pac-12 now after this win, even though Washington still undefeated, and they lost to Washington. I still think Oregon's the better team. If that one was in Eugene, I think Oregon might win that game. But it was in Seattle, so we'll see. That'll be the rematch if those two continue to win in the Pac-12 title game. So that would be another fun one to have again. But yeah, Bo, we said it on Friday. Bo knows. Bo Nix, great game. 24 of 31, 77.4%, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing score. Bryson Barnes for the Utes, 15 of 29, 51.7%, 136, 2 picks. Once again, though, the Ducks having great success on the ground. Bucky Irving leading the game in rushing, 14 carries, 83 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. 4 catches for 36 yards. Oregon wide receiver Troy Franklin, 1 yard short of 108 for 99 and a touchdown. And then defensively, we go with Oregon defensive back Kyrie Jackson, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Tysheem Johnson, the other defensive back for Oregon, though, deserves credit with a 2-interception game as well. There for Utah, Sione Vaki, not as impactful in this one as he has been the last couple of weeks for the Utes. Oregon minus 6.5 covers easily, under 47.5. Small print because a lot of scoring here. Number 14, Notre Dame just kicked the absolute shit out of Pittsburgh. 58-7. My goodness. Sam Hartman, 18-25. He didn't even play that well. 18-25, 72%, which is great. 288, great. But he only threw 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. So that was weird. Notre Dame also playing backup Steve Angeli, 6 of 7, 85.7%, 92 yards a touchdown. Pretty solid backup performance. Pitt's quarterbacks, Christian Veilleux, the Penn State transfer, 14-29, 48.3%, 127, 4 picks. So I guess he bailed out Hartman a little bit. And then Nate Yarnell, 2 of 3, 66.7%, 75 yards and a touchdown. But my guy, Audric Estime, had a whale of a game. 19 carries, 114 yards, 6 yards per carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 receptions for 16 yards. Lead the game in rushing. Leading the game in receiving, Notre Dame wide receiver Rico Flores Jr., 2 catches, 72 yards. You had Notre Dame wide receiver Chris Tyree, 3 catches, 62 yards, and an 82-yard punt return touchdown. And then they also got help on defense with 2 defensive scores. 3 guys down there at the bottom. Notre Dame safety Xavier Watts continues to have a heck of a season. 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 tackle for loss, 2 picks. Notre Dame corner Jaden Mickey, 2 tackles, 1 pass deflection, and a 43-yard pick 6. And then Notre Dame safety Ramon Henderson, 1 tackle. It was a solo tackle and a 0-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. All 3 phases. Notre Dame minus 21 covers easily, over 45.5 by themselves. Number 18, Louisville, 23 zip over number 20 Duke. Yeah, the Blue Devils did not perform at like you and I thought they would.
I thought they were better than this.
Yeah, I mean, I did too, especially with Riley Leonard being his second game back off the injury. He led the game in passing yards on 9 throws, 9 completions. But, yeah, it was not pretty for Riley Leonard all day. 9 of 23, 39.1%, 121 yards a pick, 10 carries for 13 yards. Jack Plummer was not the greatest either. 11 of 16, 68.8%, 117 yards. Duke also put in Grayson Loftus at the end, 3 of 5, 60% for 30 yards. Louisville running back Jawar Jordan, he was literally the only person that played offense in this game. 21 carries, 163 yards. That's 7.8 yards per carry. 2 rushing scores on the day. Late in the game in receiving, Duke wide receiver Jordan Moore, 6 catches, 92 yards. And defensively, I got to go with Louisville defensive lineman Ashton Gillott, 3 tackles, but 2 solos, 2 tackles for loss. Louisville minus 5 covers, easily under 47. A lot of blowouts this week, which was weird. Other than the first, there's like a couple games there. Then there's a lot of blowouts because the next one was a blowout. I guess if you call it 2-score game, I don't know what you call a blowout. 3-score game.
I think a blowout is 3-score. I would say at least. No, 3-score has to be 3 touchdowns, I think. So I would say 17 isn't a blowout. But like 21 and over is a blowout.
Yeah. This one just seems like a blowout because like you 30 and 16, it just looks like it's bigger because you go to 30. If it was
I
like
would
20,
also say if you give up like a garbage time touchdown, it's still a blowout.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if this was like 29-16, it wouldn't look like a blowout. I don't know. I don't
It's
know what
getting
it
the
is.
30 points. That's always like kind of impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I apparently cannot understand how to pick Miami, Ohio, because like I said on Friday, I picked them last week. They lost to Toledo. I pick Ohio against Miami this week, and they freaking win. So I have no clue. They're going to continue to be on our show because they're 7-2 and in the thick of the MAC championship race. Yeah, we all picked the Bobcats in this game. So, but yeah, 30-16, Miami, Ohio wins over Ohio. Curtis Rourke for the Bobcats, 25 of 39, 64.1%, 313, one touchdown, 8 carries, 11 yards, and a fumble. Avion Smith for the Redhawks, 7 of 11, 63.6%, 103 yards, a touchdown, 15 carries, 22 yards, and a rushing score. He got a lot of help from his running back, Rashad Amos, 21 carries, 163 yards, a touchdown to lead the game in rushing. Ohio wide receiver Sam Wiglues led the game in receiving, 5 catches, 79 yards. And defensively, I got to go with Miami, Ohio defensive lineman Brian Ugwu, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Miami, Ohio, plus 7.5, wins outright, over 39. Finally, we get a close one. Number 22, Tulane, squeaking by Rice, 30-28. I have been impressed by JT Daniels the last 2 weeks. Even I think Rice won last week. I can't remember. And then in a loss this week, even though his yardage number isn't very good, there have been throws that I've seen from JT Daniels that I'm like, this is the guy I thought like we were getting at Georgia. And then he barely played at Georgia, transferred to West Virginia, transferred to Rice. But every now and again, I don't know if he's like finally 100% like after that injury that he had at Georgia, or really the injury started at USC. But I don't know. JT's playing well. Has Rice right in the bowl conversation. Just need to get 2 more wins there for the Owls to get into a bowl. But yeah, there's been some throws that I'm like, all right, this is like JT's looking like the guy I thought he was, or the guy that we saw at USC when he was a true freshman. Anyways, Tulane did win this game. Number 22, Tulane. Michael Pratt, excellent game, 22 of 30, 73.3%, 263, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 12 carries, 40 yards, and a rushing score. JT Daniels, 18 of 29, 62.1%, 189, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Tulane running back Mekhi Hughes, he's having a great season. 23 carries, 153 yards, and a 12-yard reception. Rice running back Juma Ottaviano, 2 touchdown day, 9 carries, 38 yards, 2 scores, and a 14-yard reception. How about Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke McCaffrey, leading the game in rushing or receiving, 5 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with Tulane defensive end Davian Deal, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss. Rice plus 10 covers over 55. Another very small print.
This was the game.
Number 24 USC, 50-49 over Cal, winning by the skin of their teeth. I don't even know if that's a saying. I don't know why that's a saying. I don't get it. Your teeth don't have any skin.
I think that's the whole point. It's just like no skin. So like you win by the skin of your teeth. It's like you win by a razor thin margin.
No. Okay. Got it. But yeah, defending a 2-point conversion at the end of the game is how they won this one. And there is absolutely no chance that USC should be ranked in the CFP this tonight. No chance. I don't care if they only have 2 losses. Doesn't matter. They're not a good team. Like,
yeah, their defense is horrendous.
yeah. And I mean, they're still in the Pac-12 race. But they have a lot of hurdles because they have two conference losses now. I believe both their losses are conference. Or no, one's Notre Dame. Never mind. So they still have 1 conference loss. So they are still technically in contention in the Pac-12. But I don't think, like I said, I think it's Oregon, Washington. I think that's, and technically USC's in second right now because they have a half-game lead over Oregon. They have 1 more conference win. They're 5-1 in conference. Oregon's only 4-1, but USC's played 1 more game. So I still don't think it matters. Yeah, USC has the second most points against in the conference, which is kind of wild that Stanford has more. But Stanford has given up 300 points, and Stanford is the bottom of the league. 2-6 overall, 1-5 in conference. USC's given up 293 points.
Classic Lincoln Riley team.
And then the next after that is, of course, Coach Prime and Colorado at 279. But yeah, you look at the other teams that are up at the top of the Pac-12 with them. Washington's only given up 165. No, Oregon, the second conference, UCLA at 125. Oregon State's given up 169, and Utah's given up 140. That's the top teams there. So yeah, I mean, they have scored the most by a lot. They've scored 413 points this year. And Oregon is the next closest at 364. But yeah. Anyways, getting into the numbers here, Caleb Williams. I mean, he puts on a great performance. 23 of 40, 57.5%, 369, 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing scores, and a fumble. I think you got to credit Fernando Mendoza, though. The young kid for Cal. 25 of 39, 64.1%, 292, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 8 carries, 48 yards, 2 rushing scores, and a fumble. Oh, my guy, I love this kid, Jaden Ott. I believe he's a true sophomore for the Bears there. 21 carries, 153 yards, 3 rushing scores on the night. You had a 2-touchdown, 100-yard performance by USC running back Marshawn Lloyd, 17 carries, 115 yards, 2 scores, 3 catches for 72 yards. USC wide receiver Taj Washington, the only 100-yard receiver in this one, 5 catches, 102 on the night here. And then defensively, I think I am going to go with Cal linebacker Cade Uluave, 10 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections. Cal plus 10 covers easily, over 67.5, 99 points in that game. Number 5, Washington, getting by over Stanford, 42-33. Huskies 8-0. Michael Penix Jr. back to his old self in this one. 21 of 38, 55.3%, 369, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Also, an incredible day for Stanford quarterback Ashton Daniels. I think some of the lower programs in the Pac-12, even though it's pretty much disbanding, right, have to feel good about where they're at quarterback-wise, like Cal, Arizona, and Stanford. These young kids have been playing a lot this year and have looked pretty decent. But yeah, Ashton Daniels, 31 of 50, 62%, 367, one touchdown, 18 carries, 81 yards, and 2 rushing scores. Washington running back Dylan Johnson, Mississippi State transfer, leading the game in rushing, 18 carries, 84 yards, a touchdown. Washington wide receiver Jalen Polk, big day for him. 5 catches, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. And this is another guy that Stanford can build upon on offense. This kid, Alec Aomanor, is just lighting it up in Palo Alto right now. 9 receptions, 146 yards, a touchdown. Kid is massive. I believe he's like 6'3", something. His teammate there, Tiger Bachmeyer, double-digit receptions, 10 catches, 95 yards, also threw an incomplete pass. And defensively, I'm going to go with Washington corner Jabbar Muhammad, 8 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection. Stanford, plus 27.5, covers easily. Over 62.75 in that one. How about the Falcons? Number 19, Air Force. My Air Force Falcons crushing Colorado State 30-13. 8-0 for Air Force. I'm very intrigued to see where they land on the CFP rankings tonight. Braden Fowler Nicolosi for the Rams here, 28 of 45, 62.2%, 297, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. Zach Larrier for Air Force, 4 of 7, 57.1%, 32 yards, a touchdown, 14 carries, 36 yards, and a rushing score. Big day for Air Force fullback Emmanuel Michel, 20 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown. You also had a big night for Colorado State wide receiver Justice Ross Simmons, 8 receptions, 128 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with Air Force safety Jalen Mergerson, 13 tackles, 9 solos, 2 pass deflections. Air Force, minus 14.5 covers, under 47. I got another one wrong.
That's on you.
This was your lone wolf. One of your 2. Number 21, Tennessee, 33-27 over Kentucky. It's close, though. This is what Kentucky fans thought they were getting from Devin Leary when he transferred, and he finally put a game together, 28 of 39, 71.8%, 372, 2 touchdowns, 5 carries, 21 yards. That's rough to lose with that kind of performance.
Yeah.
Tennessee quarterback Joe Milton III, 18 of 21, ultra efficient, 85.7%, 228, 1 touchdown, 10 carries for 26 yards. 100-yard day for Tennessee running back Jalen Wright, 11 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown, and a 2-yard reception. But I think that was the key there. I said Kentucky was going to run the ball against Tennessee. They were not able to. Ray Davis just 2.6 yards per carry on 16 carries there. Did score a touchdown and got some passing yards or receiving yards there. But not enough in this game. Kentucky wide receiver Dane Key, 100-yard day, 7 receptions, 113 yards, and a touchdown. And my defensive player of the game, bottom guy, Tennessee defensive lineman Omar Norman Lott, 2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss. Tennessee minus 4 covers over 50.5.
Couldn't go with my Texas State guys.
Got another one wrong. 0 for 2. 0-2 lone wolves for me on the weekend. Oof. Troy, 31-13 blowout over Texas State. Gunnar Watson was just shredding Texas State all day. 26 of 40, 65%, 392, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing score. TJ Finley is just the turnovers really for him that halted the Bobcats' day. 24 of 38, 63.2%, 262, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and a fumble. Texas State also played Malik Hornsby, the Arkansas transfer, 1 of 2, 50%, 40 yards, 2 carries, 11 yards. And actually is looks like the CFP rankings are getting revealed right now. So 7 p.m. Eastern for for all those that were wondering and did not fact check me. I thought that's what you were here for, Jimmy. I thought you were going to fact check me earlier.
Nah, I can't do that to you, man.
Well, I got it loaded up now, so I'm going to watch while we do the show here. But Texas State running back Ishmael Mahdi, 100-yard day, 20 carries, 128 yards, a fumble, 4 catches for 32 yards. So there's 4 turnovers right there between your quarterback and running back combined. That'll lose you a ball game. Massive night for Troy wide receiver Jabray Barber, 10 receptions, 160 yards, and a touchdown. And then defensively, how about the night for Texas State defensive end Ben Bell, the brother, I believe, of Michigan Panthers defensive lineman Levi Bell, or at least he was on the Panthers. I think he signed to a practice squad now, but in the NFL, but I don't remember. 6 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. Troy minus 6.5 covers easily under 53. Number 3, Ohio State, 8-0, 24-10 over Wisconsin. The Badgers had them.
They did. I mean, Kyle McCord was doing everything he could to suck. He was pissing me off this entire game. I'm glad I wasn't there because holy crap, I wanted to punch the man.
Oh, so you did not attend?
Nah, we did not attend.
Oh, look, you're going to get a snow game after all. I just got a tweet from 24/7 Sports. We got Maction tonight.
Woo!
You got to turn on the Buffalo-Toledo game.
Oh, Maction, baby.
Apparently, it is snow-soaked in Toledo right now.
Oh, I know what I'm putting on. Listen, folks at home, you got to understand, snow games are a religious experience, and you need to just observe the wonders that is snow football. It's like watching a bunch of 5-year-olds start getting their coordination well enough to play football. Because that snow just like, it's the ultimate equalizer. It's great.
Well, especially Mactions.
Oh, yeah.
Snow games hit different.
Oh, they hit so different.
But yeah, anyways, back to Ohio State, Wisconsin. Badgers had it tied at 10. We're down just 7 for a while. And then finally, Travion Henderson put the Buckeyes up by 2 scores, was not able to do that. And here we go. We're getting the top 25 right now. We're just gonna, announce this. Air Force at 25. That's low, bro. That's way too low. Tulane at 24. Kansas State 23 enters the rankings. Oklahoma State enters the rankings at 22. Kansas back into the top 25 at 21. So that's the bottom 5 there. They usually do the top 19 pretty quickly. But yeah, Kyle McCord, 17 of 26, 65.4%, 226, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a fumble. Here's the next 5 here. USC at 20. Why? UCLA at 19. Utah at 18. Tennessee at 17. Oregon State 16. So 4 Pac-12 teams in the second 5 from the bottom there, 16 through 20. I guess I'm just not going to even talk about this Wisconsin game yet because they're keep going until they get to the top 6. Unless we can, just fill the space here as they go up. But Braden Locke for Wisconsin, 18 of 39, 46.2%, 165, 1 touchdown, 5 carries for 14 yards. They're taking a long time talking about 16 through 20. So, and here we go. 11 to 15, Notre Dame 15, LSU 14, Louisville 13,
Okay.
Missouri at 12.
Yeah.
My Penn State and Indy Lions fall at 11.
Oof. I'm
That's
surprised
too
they
low. That's too low.
Maybe they just thought the first half of the Indiana game was more indicative than many think. I thought they'd stay in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, they still have a top 5 nationally ranked defense. I understand the offensive is concerning, but at the same time, they held Ohio State for most of that game, and they held Ohio State to 20 points. So I think that was pretty solid. How about Ole Miss?
Ole
Is your
Miss.
10 ranked team in the nation? Lane Kiffin
Bringing them back.
getting it done up to 10. Squarely in the thick of the SEC West race. Oklahoma at 9.
Not surprised.
How do we feel about that after their loss to Kansas, dropping just 3 spots from the AP poll number 6 last week to the CFP number 9 this week? I think it's pretty solid. I mean,
yeah, it was a close game. It wasn't like they were, embarrassed or blown out. I think they probably should remain in top 10 until they have a worse loss.
Alabama at number 8.
Is the revenge tour? It's still
back
kicking.
on. Is it back on?
Kicking.
They move up 3 spots from the AP number 11 to number 8 in the CFP. But they got a massive game this week. LSU at Alabama.
That
maybe might decide the SEC West.
Yeah, that will decide a lot for the season.
Texas, number 7, sticking right at number 7 where they were prior to the CFP. Very excited. I love Texas. Hook 'em. We're gonna win the Big 12. And I'm assuming that it's going to take a while for them to unveil the top 6. So we'll get back to the Ohio State game here. Travion Henderson, massive night in his return after, was it 2 games?
He missed Penn State. I think it was 3. I think it was 3 games.
But yeah, it really showed a difference in the Ohio State offense with him back in the fold. 24 carries, 162 yards, and the game-sealing touchdown there. Also, 4 catches for 45 yards. Big receiving night for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Marvin Harrison did his thing. 6 catches, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, if they don't have him, like, there's no way Ohio State is 8-0.
No, I mean, especially with Egbuka being out for a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw like he was literally the only reason they beat Penn State, other than maybe the defense.
The defense is great.
Yeah, the defense is also top 5, which is ridiculous to have 3 top 5 nationally ranked defenses in the same division in one conference. But we've known this. We've known this, that the Big Ten division system is freaking stupid anyways.
I just hate how just like very lopsided the West and East level is. It's awful.
It's okay. Next year it's gone.
I think that's the best way to do it.
But yeah, defensively, I am going to go with Ohio State defensive tackle Tyleik Williams, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection. I didn't think about it. I should have worn my Georgia stuff for the CFP rankings, but I had to rep the Panthers' first win. So,
Hmm.
Wisconsin plus 14.5 covers by the hook
By the hook.
and under 48. Number 12, Ole Miss, 33-7. Now number 10, Ole Miss this week. And here we go. Before we get to this game, we are getting the top 6 live. Oregon is your number 6 ranked team in the nation. I feel like Reese Davis right now. I'm just like his apprentice. Like that's exactly what Reese just said. Oregon is your number 16, the Ducks. Then he goes through all the stats that we don't have stats people to give us stats. So Washington is number 5. Of course, the CFP is going to keep them above Oregon as long as it takes until Washington loses 1, I would suspect, or even 2. I don't know what it would take for Oregon to get above Washington, and unless just beating them in the Pac-12 championship.
That's probably it. I mean, they just have to win.
Yeah. So those are your first 2 out. Of course, the Pac-12 is going to be all pissed because they can't get one in right now. Florida State continues to be your number 4 team. So 4 and 5 stay the same. Oregon jumps from 8 to 6 from the AP ranking to the CFP. Florida State is interesting because it seems like everyone has Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia in some order, the top 3, and then they're just Florida State is at 4. So we'll see. But this is where it gets interesting. 1, 2, and 3. How will they rank them? This is what everyone came to see tonight.
I think they stick the same. I think it's just Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2, Georgia at 1. I don't see any.
No, it is not. Michigan is at 3.
Really? They moved up Ohio State?
I'm telling you, if Stephen A. Smith was right, I would laugh my ass off.
I don't think Ohio State's the number 1 team. It has to be Georgia at 1.
That's what Stephen A. said. That's what Stephen A. And Georgia is number 2.
Really?
Baby.
Ohio State?
Love it.
Number 1 team in the nation.
Ohio State is your number 1 team.
Wow. I'm genuine.
They just poked the bear. They just poked the bear, dude. I mean, you just gave Kirby Smart the biggest bullet in his chamber. I mean, you're talking about back-to-back national champions disrespecting them and putting them at number 2. Sure.
Honestly, as an Ohio State fan, I kind of hate this. Because not only we piss off Georgia, we piss off Michigan. I don't want to piss off Michigan until we beat them.
Yeah, I don't think there was definitely Ohio State at 1 was definitely the minority view, I think, anyways. But here we have it. They have the resume comparison. Ohio State has the number 1 strength of record in the country, number 15 strength of schedule, 2 key wins against Penn State and Notre Dame, both top 15 at the time of their wins. Georgia has 7th ranked strength of record, Michigan 9th, Georgia 111th strength of schedule, Michigan 115th strength of schedule, I believe is what that said. It went pretty quickly there, but
yeah, that makes sense, I guess. I mean, I'm not mad. I mean, as a fan of Ohio State, it's like, oh, cool, we're number 1, but I'm shocked. I thought we might usurp Michigan just because we're both 8-0, and maybe some of the voters would be a little queasy with the whole investigation thing. I mean, I don't know. Being number 1 after that really, I don't want to say bad performance, but weird performance against Wisconsin. All right. I mean, I guess.
I just don't understand the people that say Georgia hasn't proven anything just because they haven't beaten a top 25 team that is currently ranked top 25. But when you look at it, Kentucky was ranked when they beat them, I believe. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, listen, you got Michigan. I mean, Missouri.
We have Mizzou and Tennessee coming up. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you and like Ohio State's playing Rutgers, so I mean, if you beat the crap out of Missouri, I think you just take it back.
Right. Missouri ranked number 12. I don't remember where Tennessee was ranked 17th or something like that.
Yeah, Mississippi's 10, if I remember correctly what you said. Yeah.
Ole Miss is number 10, yeah.
Ole Miss 10. So, I mean, if you beat Missouri by a blowout, even if Ohio State blows out Rutgers, I think they're going, all right, they beat Missouri.
Yeah. And obviously Michigan has the Ohio State, Penn State games coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't take as much stock into the Penn State game for Ohio State. It was in Columbus. Like, they already had that advantage. I understand they beat them. It ended up being a one-score game. But a home win is, in my book anyway, is a lesser win than an away ranked win, which the Notre Dame one was. But again, the Notre Dame one as well, I don't think that was very good either. They won on the last play of the game.
Hey, they won.
Right. But I don't think it was that great. And in those two ranked wins, they only put up 17 and 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think to maintain number one, you really got to ask for a lot more from Kyle McCord, which I'm not seeing right now.
Again, I'm fine with it. I love it. Give Kirby the ammo. I'm fine.
Oh, man. If only Georgia was playing Michigan in the regular season, I'd be hyped. I'm like, yeah, give them the ammunition.
because Kirby will use the shit out of that, man. He will say, they going to disrespect us like this, put us at number 2. That's exactly what Kirby's going to say.
I mean, hey, just play your game. Beat Missouri.
I love it. But anyways, back to our show. Now that we have the top
After that sidetrack, we apologize.
Now that we have the top 25 college football playoff rankings. Ole Miss's win here. Jackson Dart, 19 of 28, 67.9%, 240, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and a rushing score. Vanderbilt playing 2 quarterbacks. Ken Seals, 4 of 8, 50%, 22 yards and a pick. Walter Taylor, 4 of 12, 33.3%, 38 yards a pick. 20 carries, 59 yards, and a rushing score. Oh, I forgot Spencer Sanders also played a little bit for Ole Miss. Completed his only pass for 14 yards. 100-yard night for Ole Miss running back Quinshon Judkins. 17 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 7-yard reception for the sophomore. Ole Miss wide receiver Dayton Wade, 100-yard night as well. 108 receptions, 120 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, there's a whole host of guys that you can put as defensive player of the game. I'm going to go with 2, actually. Vanderbilt linebacker Langston Patterson has been playing his butt off. 9 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, and a pick. And Ole Miss defensive end Jared Ivey, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. Ole Miss minus 24, covers by a couple, under 62. Number 23, UCLA, 28-16 over Colorado. 3 straight losses by Coach Prime. Great. Love it. Ethan Garbers for the Bruins, 20-27, 74.1%, 269, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 9 carries for 37 yards. Colin Schlee also in the game a little bit for UCLA, 0 for 1 passing with a pick, 4 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Shedeur Sanders struggled, 27 of 43, 62.8%, 217 and a touchdown. UCLA running back TJ Harden leading the game in rushing, 20 carries, 78 yards, a touchdown, and a 25-yard reception. 100-yard night for UCLA wide receiver Logan Loya, 7 receptions, 111 yards. And if y'all didn't see his catch on the sideline, go look up Logan Loya catch, because it is incredible that he got the second, or the toe down before the elbow, I think it was, or whatever. But yeah, it's ridiculous catch. Probably, definitely in conversation for catch of the year in college football. And defensively, how about Travis Hunter? Why not?
Why not?
The Buffaloes. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 picks, and then 3 receptions for 7 yards on offense. Colorado plus 14, covers under 60. Bro, what is going on with UNC?
The downfall's real, man.
46-42 loss for number 17 North Carolina to Georgia Tech. And once again, though, I'd be pissed off if I'm Drake May, because in both of their losses, Drake May has absolutely balled, and the defense is literally USD pretty much. That's what UNC. But the thing is, it's weird. Like, it just started clicking like this for UNC, because this is what UNC did last year. Their defense was so bad last year that this is what happened to them. But it wasn't like that until last week, and now it's 2 straight weeks of giving up a lot of points. I don't know what has happened to Mac Brown's defense, but here we are. But yeah, Drake May, though, 17 of 25, 68%, 310, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 58 yards of rushing score. I will say, though, Haynes King, the Texas A&M transfer, did his part for the Yellow Jackets to win this one. 23 of 30, 76.7%, 287, 4 touchdowns, a pick, 8 carries for 90 yards. Also doing him a favor was running back Dante Smith, 22 carries, 178 yards, a touchdown. My guy Omari in Hampton, this kid is crazy. 29 carries, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 41 yards. Leading the game in a receiving 100-yard a day for Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr., 8 catches, 117 yards. 2 touchdown night for Georgia Tech wide receiver Malik Rutherford, 6 for 83 and 2 scores. 2 touchdown night for Georgia Tech tight end Brett Seether, the Georgia transfer, 2 catches, 40 yards, 2 scores. Defensively, I'm going to go with Georgia Tech defensive lineman Daquan Dowse, 6 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Georgia Tech plus 12 wins outright, over 65.5, 88 in that one. How about the Dukes? Number 25, James Madison, 8-0 Dukes. Not ranked in the CFP rankings, which is just wrong. 30-27 over Old Dominion. I understand it's a close one, but whatever. Jordan McLeod, 27 of 40, 67.5%, 340, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 10 carries, 13 yards, and a rushing score. Grant Wilson for the Monarchs there, 26 of 36, 72.2%, 277, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. Leading the game in rushing, ODU running back Keyshawn Wicks, 11 carries, 74 yards. And 200-yard nights for JMU wide receivers Reggie Brown and Elijah Surratt. 9 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns for Brown, 8 catches, 139 yards, and a touchdown for Surratt. Double-digit reception night for ODU wide receiver Isaiah Page, 10 for 71 there. And defensively, my guy Jalen Green, man, he is a beast for the Dukes, as having a great season. 9 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss for the big man there. They're counting at Wisconsin as a key win for Ohio State as well, by the way. Do with that what you will. Old Dominion plus 19.5 covers easily over 48. Logan got us, dude.
Didn't see that one coming.
Arizona. My Wildcats. I like them. They're a good young team. 27-24 upset over number 11 Oregon State. Noah Fifita continues to shred. 25 of 32, 78.1%, 275, 3 touchdowns and a pick. DJ Uiagalelei, 16 of 30, 53.3%, 218, 2 touchdowns, 6 carries for 10 yards. Freshman Aiden Childs also playing in this one, 2 of 3, 66.7% for 58 yards. Oregon State running back Damian Martinez leading the game in rushing, 14 carries, 87 yards, and an 8-yard reception. 2-touchdown receiving night for running back Michael Wiley of the Wildcats, 2 carries, 0 yards, but 5 catches, 58 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Leading the game in receiving, Arizona wide receiver Tataroa McMillan, 8 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. And defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy, Arizona corner Takario Davis, 4 tackles, all of them solos, and 3 pass deflections. Arizona +3 wins outright under 57.5. Final FBS game here. Fresno State, close one over UNLV, 31-24. This was your loss on your lone wolf of the Rebels. Close one, but no cigar.
So close.
Jaden Mayava for the Rebels there, 21 of 35, 60%, 268, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Mikey Keene for the Bulldogs, 27 of 41, 65.9%, 256, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. UNLV running back Vincent Davis Jr. leading the game in rushing. The Pitt transfer, 12 carries, 68 yards, 4-yard reception. 100-yard night for UNLV wide receiver Ricky White, 7 catches, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. And 1 yard short for Fresno State wide receiver Jalen Moss, 5 catches, 99 yards. Defensively, I'm going to go with the UNLV defensive back Cameron Oliver, 12 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a pick. UNLV +10.5 covers, under 56 by 1. And, of course, the FCS game of the week, the South Dakota Showdown Series was not much of a showdown. Number 1, South Dakota State just annihilating number 4, South Dakota, 37-3. I mean, the Jackrabbits are the clear number 1 team in FCS play, well on their way to winning back-to-back national championships. There's literally been no other team close. It was Montana State earlier, but Montana State has since lost at least one. I think they've lost 2, though, at this point. So, yeah, there is really no other team that has even come close to beating South Dakota State right now. Mark Gronowski for the Jacks, 13 and 19, 68.4%, 207, 1 pick, 7 carries for 43 yards. And South Dakota had them. The Coyotes were up 3-0 early on.
Really had them.
The 2 quarterbacks playing in this one, Aiden Bauman for the Coyotes, 17 of 31, 54.8%, 133, 2 picks. Chase Mason came in, missed his only pass, 0 for 1, 2 carries, 29 yards. South Dakota State running back Isaiah Davis leading the game in rushing, 17 carries, 69 yards, 3 catches for 32 yards. His teammate, Amar Johnson, with a 2-touchdown night, 8 catches, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an 8-yard reception. South Dakota State wide receiver Jackson Yankee leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 93 yards. And defensive player of the game, he had 3 guys with an interception. South Dakota State linebacker Isaiah Stallbird and safety Tucker Large, and South Dakota defensive back Shahid Barros. South Dakota State -14.5 covers easily under 47.
Before we get to the NFL, I got to get going. Sad I can't stick around to talk about the amazing trades that happened. Just know that anything I texted you about the trades, please share. I'm giving you permission to share. Go ahead so that you could give my thoughts on the great trades that happened today. But before I go, I'll just summarize and say, Bears are stupid. Holy crap, 49ers. Vikings did okay. Have a good one, everyone.
See you, man. Eagles 7-1, best record in the league, 38-31 over the Commanders. I don't know why we do this to ourselves every time we play Washington, but they got it done though, which is all that matters, right? So happy about that. And Sam Howell absolutely just crushed the Eagles secondary all day. 39 of 52, 75%, 397, 4 touchdowns. Game losing interception, though. Washington scored late to make this a one-score game, but the interception put the Eagles in position that and they converted that into 7 points to get up by 2 scores. 3 carries for 11 yards for Howell as well. Jalen Hurts continues the ball, 29 of 38, 76.3%, 319, 4 touchdowns and a fumble. Washington running back Brian Robinson Jr. leading the game in rushing, 10 carries, 59 yards, 2 receptions for 20 yards. A.J. Brown breaking the record for most consecutive 125-yard plus receiving teams at 6, 8 receptions, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 targets. Also 100-yard day. Commanders wide receiver Jahan Dotson, 8 receptions, 108 yards, a touchdown on 10 targets. And 1 yard short was Eagles wide receiver Devontae Smith, 7 receptions, 99 yards, a touchdown on 7 targets. Double-digit target day for Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin as well. 5 catches, 63 yards, touchdown on 12 targets. Defensively, I got to go with Commanders defensive end Montez Sweat. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Eagles -7 pushed over 42.5, 69 in that game. Jags 2010 win over the Steelers, moving into a tie for first place in the AFC with the Dolphins and the Chiefs and the Ravens. Trevor Lawrence 24 of 32, 75%, 292, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and a 10-yard carry. Kenny Pickett injured in this one, 10 of 16, 62.5%, 73 yards, and a 10-yard carry. Mitch Trubisky coming in for Pickett, 15 of 27, 55.6%, 138, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and 3 carries for 18 yards. Travis Etienne Jr. continues to be on a tear with Jacksonville. 24 carries, 79 yards, lead the game in rushing, 3 receptions, 70 yards, a touchdown on 6 targets. Jags tight end Evan Ingram leading the game in receiving, 10 catches, 88 yards on 10 targets, and a fumble. Big target share days for Deontay Johnson of Pittsburgh and Calvin Ridley of Jacksonville. Johnson, 8 catches, 85 yards on 14 targets. Ridley, 6 catches, 83 yards on 10 targets. And defensively, I got to go with Jags linebacker Josh Allen, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Jags -2.5 cover under 41. Panthers get the first win. Bryce Young outduels the guy that was picked 1 spot behind him and CJ Stroud. 15-13 win for Carolina over the Texans. Let's drop that Bears pick down the board, please. Bryce Young, 22 of 31, 71%, 235, 1 touchdown, 4 carries for 11 yards. CJ Stroud, 16 of 24, 66.7%, 140, 2 carries for 13 yards and a touchdown. Dameon Pierce led the game in rushing for Houston, 12 carries for 46 yards. And leading the game in receiving, Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen, 8 catches, 72 yards on 11 targets. Defensively, whole host of performances. 3 guys I want to highlight. First guy, Panthers linebacker Frankie Louvu, all over the game, leading tackler in this one, 12 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a QB hit. And then 2 guys for the Texans, defensive tackle Malik Collins, 7 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 3 QB hits. And defensive end Jonathan Greenard, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits. Panthers +3.5 win outright under 43. How about the Dolphins? Also getting to 6-2, 31-17 win over the Patriots. Tua Tagovailoa was excellent, 30 of 45, 66.7%, 324, 3 touchdowns and a pick and a fumble. Mac Jones for the Patriots, 19 of 29, 65.5%, 161, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Dolphins running back Raheem Mostert leading the game in rushing. Not a big rushing day for either team. 13 carries, 46 yards, a touchdown. 100-yard days for the duo of Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Waddle, 7 catches, 121 yards, a touchdown on 12 targets. Hill, 8 receptions, 112 yards, a touchdown on 13 targets. Defensively, I'm going to go with Patriots safety Kyle Duggar, 9 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 QB hit, and a pick. Dolphins minus 7.5 covers over 46.5 by 1.5. This was an absolutely gross game. Jets 13-10 in overtime over the Giants in a comeback win. They were down 10-3. Graham Gano misses a field goal. Zach Wilson gets the ball spiked with 1 second. Greg Zuerlein hits the game-tying field goal. Or they were down 10-7, I should say. Yeah, 10-7. Greg Zuerlein hits the game-tying field goal, and then Giants get the ball, punt in overtime. Jets go down, get a big pass interference, set up Greg Zuerlein for the game winner to win this one. Zach Wilson, though, 17 of 36, 47.2%, 240, 1 touchdown, 4 carries, 25 yards, 2 fumbles. By the way, the Snoopy Bowl regular season is what this game is called, or it used to be called anyways. Giants, quarterback Tyrod Taylor, 4 of 7, 57.1%, 8 yards, 5 carries for 33 yards, injured in this one. So Tommy DeVito, I believe, undrafted rookie out of Syracuse, 2 of 7, 28.6%, minus 1 yard passing, 4 carries, 12 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Giants had minus 9 yards passing all day, with the sack yardage accumulated to the accounted for in the passing yard statistics, unlike college where it's accounted for in rush statistics. Big day in a loss for Giants running back Saquon Barkley, 36 carries, 128 yards, and 3 receptions for 0 yards on 5 targets. 100-yard day for Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson, 7 catches, 100 yards on 13 targets. Whole host of defensive performances. 3 guys I want to highlight at the bottom there. 2 Giants, 1 Giants linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau, 9 tackles, 6 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. Jets linebacker Jermaine Johnson, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits. And then Giants defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence II, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 5 QB hits. Jets minus 3 pushed under 34.5. Titans 28-23 over the Falcons. Jimmy, I believe, lone wolfed us on that one. Or no, we all picked Atlanta. Never mind. I thought someone picked Tennessee. But Logan did lone wolf us on Jacksonville there. His one lone wolf win of the weekend, going 1-3. Jimmy and I hit both of ours. But anyways, how about the debut for Will Levis, 2nd-round pick this year out of Kentucky, 19 of 29, 65.5%, 238, 4 touchdowns, 7 carries for 11 yards for the Titans rookie. Desmond Ridder got benched/injured in this game. There was a reported concussion, but then also there was reported that he just got benched. 8 of 12 for Ridder, 66.7%, 71 yards, 3 carries, 26 yards, and a fumble. The offense was much better, though, in the second half with the QB change anyways. Taylor Heineke taking over, 12 of 21, 57.1%, 175, 1 touchdown, 2 carries for 14 yards. Derrick Henry leading the game in rushing, 100 yards, 22 carries, 101 yards, 4 catches for 21 yards. Massive day for Titans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, 4 catches, 128 yards, 3 touchdowns on 6 targets. And then defensive player of the game, top 2 guys that are 2 guys there. both on the Titans. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, 6 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Similar stats for linebacker Harold Henry III, 5 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. Titans plus 2.5 win outright over 35. Cowboys whooping the Rams 43-20. Dak Prescott 25 of 31, 80.6%, 304, 4 touchdowns, a pick, 4 carries for 19 yards. Matt Stafford or Cooper Rush also playing late, 2 of 3, 66.7% for 3 yards. Matt Stafford hurt in this game, 13 of 22, 59.1%, 162, 1 touchdown and a pick. Brett Rippon, 5 of 10, 50% for 42 yards. Tony Pollard led the game in rushing for Dallas, 12 carries, 53 yards, and a 2-yard reception. Just a huge day for Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns on 14 targets. I believe he became the first Cowboys player ever to have multiple games of 10-plus receptions, 150-plus receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns in multiple games. And then defensively, got to go with the pick 6 Cowboys corner, Deron Bland, 7 tackles, 6 solos, 2 pass deflections, 30-yard pick 6. That's his 3rd pick 6 of the season. Breaks the single-season all-time record for the Cowboys of 2. Cowboys -7, cover easily, over 44.5, almost by themselves. Vikings getting a win, but at a cost. 24-10 over the Packers. Kirk Cousins injured in this game, out for the year. 23 of 31, 74.2%, 274, 2 touchdowns. Jaron Hall, the 5th-round rookie out of BYU, coming in after that. 3 of 4, 75%, 23 yards, and a fumble. Jordan Love continues to struggle a little bit for Green Bay. 24 of 41, 58.5%, 229, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and 4 carries for 34 yards. He was the leading rusher in this game. Outside of Jordan Love, though, Vikings running back Alexander Mattison leading the way. 16 carries, 31 yards, and a 2-yard reception. Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborne, 1 yard short of 100, 8 catches, 99 yards on 10 targets in this game. And defensively, how about the day for Packers linebacker Preston Smith? 5 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 4 QB hits. Vikings, pick them. They covered under 41.5. Saints beating up on the Colts 38-27 to get to 500. Derek Carr, another 300-yard performance. 19 of 27, 70.4%, 310, 2 touchdowns and a fumble. Taysom Hill, of course, doing his thing. 1 of 2 passing, 50% for 44 yards, 9 carries, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns and a 14-yard reception. Gardner Minshew for the Colts, 23 of 41, 56.1%, 213, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jonathan Taylor leading the game in rushing, 12 carries, 95 yards and a 2-yard reception. Saints running back Alvin Kamara, 2-touchdown day for him, 17 carries, 59 yards, a touchdown on the ground, 4 catches, 51 yards, a touchdown on 5 targets through the air. Big career day for Saints rookie wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, undrafted out of Weber State. 3 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown on 3 targets. Double-digit target day for Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman Jr., 8 catches, 40 yards, a touchdown on 13 targets. Defensive player of the game, I'm going to go with Saints defensive end Carl Granderson. 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 QB hits. Saints -2 cover easily, over 44-65 in that game. Seahawks comeback win over the Browns 24-20. Geno Smith 23 of 37, 62.2%, 254, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. PJ Walker for Cleveland, 15 of 31, 48.4%, 248, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 6 carries for 27 yards and a fumble. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III leading the game in rushing, 8 carries, 66 yards, and a 4-yard reception. Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper leading the way in receiving, 6 catches, 89 yards on 11 targets. Also, double-digit target day for DK Metcalf for the Seahawks, 5 catches, 67 yards on 14 targets. Defensive player of the game here, I got to go with Seahawks linebacker Boye Mafe, 8 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 4 QB hits. Seahawks -4 pushed over 38.5. Ravens winning a close one over the Cardinals 31-27 to get to 6-2. Joshua Dobbs 25 of 37, 67.6%, 208, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 6 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, pretty decent day, not even close to last week, but 18 of 27, 66.7%, 157, 1 touchdown, 5 carries for 17 yards. Ravens running back Gus Edwards leading the game in rushing, 19 carries, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns for him, 2 catches for 14 yards on the day. Cardinals tight end Trey McBride leading the game in receiving, 10 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown on 14 targets for the second-year man out of Colorado State. And defensively, I am going to go with Ravens defensive tackle Justin Madubuike, 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 QB hits. Cardinals +9.5 covers over 45. How about the upset of the weekend? Broncos crushing the Chiefs 24-9. Patrick Mahomes struggling with the flu, and just a tough day facing the Broncos defense. 24 of 38, 63.2%, 241, 2 picks, 3 carries, 20 yards, and a fumble. Russell Wilson, pretty solid. 12 of 19, 63.2%, 114, 3 touchdowns, 8 carries for 30 yards, and a fumble. Broncos running back Javonte Williams leading the game in rushing, 27 carries, 85 yards, 3 catches, 13 yards, and a receiving score. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 58 yards on 9 targets. And defensively, 2 guys I want to mention. Chiefs defensive end George Karlaftis, 7 tackles, 4 solos, 2.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 3 QB hits. And Broncos linebacker Baron Browning, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. Broncos +7 went outright under 45.5. Bengals beating up on San Fran 31-17 over the Niners. Brock Purdy struggling again with the turnovers, 22 of 31, 71%, 365, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 6 carries for 57 yards, and a fumble. And this is why I picked Cincinnati, because Joe Burrow is heating up. 28 of 32, 87.5%. That's a career high. 283, 3 touchdowns, 6 carries for 43 yards. He is back, I think. Bengals running back Joe Mixon also back. 16 carries, 87 yards, a touchdown, 3 receptions for 23 yards, leading the game in rushing. 2 touchdown day for Niners running back Christian McCaffrey, 12 carries, 54 yards, a touchdown on the ground, 6 receptions, 64 yards, a touchdown on 7 targets through the air. Great day for tight end George Kittle, 9 catches, 149 yards, and 11 targets, leading the game in receiving. Also over 100, Niners wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, 5 for 109 on 9 targets. And Jamar Chase, of course, for Cincinnati, 10 for 100, a touchdown on 12 targets. And defensively, I'm going to go with 49ers defensive end Eric Armstead, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. Bengals +4.5 went outright over 44. Sunday Night Football, the Chargers rolling over the Bears 30-13. Justin Herbert was fantastic, 31 of 40, 77.5%, 298, 3 touchdowns. Tyson Bagent played as well as he could have, I guess, 25 of 37, 67.6%, 232, 2 picks, and a rushing score. Bears running back Deontay Foreman leading the game in rushing, 9 carries, 34 yards, and a 2-yard reception. Big all-purpose night for Chargers running back Austin Eckler, 15 carries, 29 yards, and a fumble. 7 receptions, 94 yards, a touchdown on 8 targets in the passing game, though. Bears tight end Cole Kmet leading the game in receiving outside of Eckler, 10 catches, 79 yards on 10 targets. Also 10 targets in this one, wide receiver Keenan Allen for LA, 8 catches, 69 yards on those 10 targets. And defensively, I am going to go with the top guy there, Bears linebacker TJ Edwards, 13 tackles, 9 solos, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Chargers -9.5 covered under 46. And Monday Night Football last night, Lions beating the Raiders 26-14. Jared Goff was pretty good, 26 of 37, 70.3%, 272, one touchdown, one pick. Jimmy Garoppolo was absolutely terrible, 10 of 21, 47.6%, 126, one pick, 2 carries for 12 yards. Did not have a lot of time all night. And, of course, Devontae Adams was frustrated, as he should be. Jimmy G missed him twice on what could have been, at the very worst, big plays, at the very best, touchdowns. Once he was getting pressured, so that one kind of is a given, but the one he missed out of bounds was just inexcusable. Just burning Cam Sutton on double moves a couple times there was Adams, and Jimmy G couldn't get him the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs, how about the night for the rookie? 26 carries, 152 yards, a touchdown. And he also caught 5 balls for 37 yards on 5 targets. Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown over 100, 6 catches, 108 yards on 9 targets. His teammate, rookie tight end Sam Laporte, double-digit targets here, 8 catches, 57 yards, a touchdown on 10 targets. And defensively, there's like 3 guys. Lions linebacker Alex Anzalone, 7 tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Raiders corner Marcus Peters, 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 pass deflection, 75-yard pick 6. And Lions defensive tackle Aleem McNeil, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 2 QB hits. Lions -7, covered under 46. USFL news starting off, the Generals. They have got a big signing Pittsburgh Maulers defensive tackle Olive Sagapolu. That is huge for the New Jersey Generals here coming into 2024. And the Philadelphia Stars also signing a running back, Kennedy Brooks, former Oklahoma Star there. College football news, Iowa offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz announced he will not be returning in 2024, the abysmal offense, even with Cade McNamara going down. Speaking of going down, bad news for Notre Dame tight end Mitchell Evans out for the year, torn ACL. I feel really bad for him because he was going to be the next great Notre Dame tight end, but that's going to have to wait until another year. NFL news. Let's get to the trade deadline. First deal here. This was yesterday. The Seahawks making a big move, acquiring defensive tackle Leonard Williams from the New York Giants for a 2024 second and a 2025 fifth-round pick. This one was interesting. I didn't really see the need for Seattle to do it. They did need help up front. But I just did not think this was the kind of move they needed, especially giving up premium draft capital in the second-round pick. Great deal for the Giants, though. I think they won this trade at the moment, especially because Leonard Williams has not been a consistent pocket pusher and a sack producer throughout his career. He's really more of a run stuffer, I think, anyways. So we'll see if it works out in Seattle. But I think at this moment, Giants win that trade. Next one here, the Eagles sending defensive tackle Kentavious Street and a 2025 seventh-round pick to the Falcons for a conditional 2024 sixth-round pick. It will be a sixth-rounder if he plays in 6 games for Atlanta. If he does not, I believe it is a seventh-round pick. But anyways, great move for Howie Roseman. You knew he would be involved at the trade deadline in some capacity. Low-level deal here, but I think it works out for both sides. Falcons losing Grady Jarrett, and Eagles having no need for Kentavious Street on their roster at this point in time. So makes a ton of sense for Philadelphia to do this deal, get a pick for a guy that has only played, I believe, 17% of the defensive snaps this season. Next trade here, the Bears making a splash, acquiring defensive end Montez Sweat from the Commanders for a 2024 second-round pick. As Jimmy noted, it doesn't make sense. Kind of, I would say kind of. I understand the hesitancy for Bears fans and other fans of why would you do this? The Bears aren't a contending team right now, but it's Ryan Poles projecting, right? The Bears are going to have the most cap space in the NFL next offseason, over 110 million projected. So some of that is going to go to Montez Sweat. They traded for him not to just have him this year. They're going to sign him. And some other people have asked, well, why even trade for him if you can sign him next year anyways? And the thing is, like, this gives them a head start. They can start on the process of re-signing him now if they wanted to. And even if they don't, even if they wait till the offseason, they still have a head start because they can start negotiating once their season is over, as opposed to having to wait until March to get to free agency and maybe sign him, or you get into a bidding war and you pay more than you would have. So I think it's a good move in that respect for Chicago. It's hard to rationalize it looking at it this year, especially because the second round pick currently right now is projected to be the 35th overall selection. So you're looking at a Chase Claypool type trade again, but I think this one will work out for Chicago in the long run. Montez Sweat, coveted pass rusher at a area of need in Chicago and a premium position. By the way, the Giants trade of Leonard Williams, the Giants paid Williams a $9.3 million bonus to facilitate the trade. Seahawks owe just about $647,000. Next trade here, the Vikings get a quarterback. They have traded the Cardinals for quarterback Josh Dobbs and a conditional 2024 seventh round pick. Haven't heard what the conditions are for that. I would expect that it is play time incentive based, snap percentage. So we'll see what that ends up being. But they get Dobbs and the conditional seventh for a 2024 sixth round pick from the Cardinals. Makes a lot of sense for both sides. Dobbs has played pretty well in Arizona this season. Had some struggles, though, on a not very good team. Cardinals, they need to get draft capital for next season. And also, they benched Dobbs this week anyways to start Clayton Tune, their rookie fifth rounder out of Houston this year. Kyler Murray coming back probably week 10. Next trade here, another Commanders trade. The 49ers acquiring defensive end Chase Young from the Commanders for a 2024 compensatory third round pick. That is the pick that they got from the Titans hiring Rand Carthon as their GM this past offseason. This one made no sense to me in terms of San Francisco. They have already put in a ton of resources up front. And I understand there really hasn't been a presence opposite of Nick Bosa this year so far. I just do not think this is a move that puts the Niners over the top and gets them out of their funk. Their funk has been on offense right now, not kind of on defense. I mean, they've been giving up some points on defense as well. I think that's more secondary related, not up front. Great player, Chase Young. He has looked like his old self, his defensive rookie of the year self as of late. But the injury history is concerning, as is the lack of sack production throughout his career. That is kind of tied to the injuries. But at the same time, I don't think the Niners are going to re-sign him. I don't think they're going to have the money to re-sign him, for one. I could be wrong, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So they'll get a third-round compensatory pick most likely in 2025, which is great. But it's only great if it wins you a Super Bowl. And I just don't think this move is the type of move that will win them a Super Bowl. So it's decent compensation. It's a compensatory third-round pick. Not their own, which really shouldn't be much higher than the compensatory pick anyways, I wouldn't think. But Washington, again, getting a 2 and a 3 for their two defensive ends, I think was solid compensation as they try to rebuild their organization. The Jags getting a lineman, getting guard Ezra Cleveland, pretty solid player with the Vikings for a 2024 6th-round selection. So, yeah, this is another lower-level deal. We saw that Doug Peterson getting a guy that should be able to help him up front and protect Trevor Lawrence inside there. The Lions getting a wide receiver, Donovan Peoples-Jones, from the Browns for a 2025 6th-round pick. This one's interesting. The Lions said they weren't going to make a move unless it made sense, especially locker room sense in terms of team chemistry. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I'm not sure that really works. I feel like I have seen him throw some temper tantrums in Cleveland before. Really was a non-factor this year with the trade of Elijah Moore. And, really has not been a factor as the third wide receiver. And I really don't see where he fits into this Lions offense either. With Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have Sam Laporta at tight end. You have Jameson Williams. Josh Reynolds has been playing lights out. You have Khalif Raymond as well. And I guess it gives you some height, but at the same time, I just don't see – I understand it's a low-level deal in terms of compensation, but I just don't really see the need for Detroit to do this move right now. We'll see. We'll see how DPJ does in Detroit, but didn't really make sense to me. On either side, really, because Cleveland, even though he wasn't being utilized as much, I still think he's a decent player that is worth, the 6th-round pick next year is not really worth, I think, the player that they could use in the passing game right now. Love the freezing at every show. Right about the 1.5 hour mark, which is spot on. But the next deal here, the last deal of the day that we had, I had to update the pick compensation because it was I did not know that they had kind of done a different deal than originally reported. So the Bills getting some help defensively in the secondary. They desperately needed some corner and linebacker help with Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano both going down this year. But yeah, so Rasul Douglas here going to Buffalo with a 2024 5th-round selection. Packers getting a 2024 3rd back. So makes sense to move up 2 rounds for Green Bay in what will be an interesting draft for them, to say the least. But it's going to be a late round pick, closer to a 4th probably for the Packers in this scenario, but it's all good. I think it's a good trade to get the 3rd round pick. It kind of was a head scratcher whenever they initially announced it, and it was a just a 5th round pick. So, yeah. General news here: the NFL is not flexing the Sunday Night Football game this week between the Jets and Raiders, I believe, or the Chargers, Jets, the Monday Night Football. They are not flexing that one out. They already missed the deadline to do so. There's the Russell Douglas trade there. But, yeah, so the Chargers-Jets game still on Monday night this week. The Giants expect quarterback Daniel Jones to return next week, actually. I should say week 10. I think they said week 10. Could be wrong. I'm saying week 10 now, but I feel like it was this week that he's back. I'm not exactly sure, though, but I believe I'm right in saying week 10. So they got to figure out what's going to happen this week. The Cardinals, I mentioned this earlier, they expected to start quarterback Clayton Tune this coming weekend against the Browns in Cleveland, going to Kyler Murray starting in week 10. Titans once again will start quarterback Will Levis on Thursday Night Football against the Steelers. Falcons, head coach Arthur Smith saying they will announce a starter on Wednesday. So stay tuned tomorrow for that news. The Bears quarterback Jalen Johnson, he requested a trade last night, was granted permission to seek a trade, couldn't get anything done. Stays put in Chicago, as did a lot of other players. Forgot to mention the guys that didn't go anywhere. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, both staying in Tennessee. Tannehill injured currently. DeAndre Hopkins staying in Tennessee as well. Also, New England not able to move Kyle Duggar, Michael Onwenu, nor Josh Uche. Never got calls for Mac Jones or Ezekiel Elliott. Other guys mentioned but not moved. Carl Lawson with the Jets. I think there was also trying to think. The Broncos did not move either of their guys, their receivers, Jerry Jeudy nor Cortland Sutton. Panthers did not move their guys. Dante Jackson at corner, Brian Burns at pass rush, Derek Brown defensive tackle. And yeah, I can't think of any other people that were talked about in terms of movement. Just trying to scour the teams in my head right now. The Chiefs did not get a receiver. That was one big thing to note. And yeah, I think that was really it as far as I can remember. Devontae Adams not getting moved. The Colts didn't move Kenny Moore either. Saquon Barkley not moved with the Giants as well. Vikings announced rookie quarterback Jaren Hall is starting this week despite the Josh Dobbs trade. As Jimmy wanted, he wants to see Hall for a couple of games, see how he does. And then if not, Josh Dobbs is there to play. IR news, Bengals placed rookie running back Chase Brown on IR with a hamstring injury. Commanders placed linebacker Cody Barton on IR. Broncos doing the same with rookie wide receiver Brandon Johnson. Injury news, Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is still week to week, his shoulder injury. Not considering IR at this moment. Texans wide receiver Robert Woods, he is out 2 to 3 weeks with his foot injury. Bunch of season ending injuries this past weekend. Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins out for the year, torn Achilles. Patriots wide receiver Kendrick Bourne also out for the year, torn ACL. Jets defensive tackle Al Woods, he tore his Achilles. He is out for the year. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett with his rib injury. He said today he will play on Thursday Night Football. Good to see him against Tennessee. Falcons, big news, losing defensive tackle Grady Jarrett for the season, torn ACL. Jets center Connor McGovern, he has a dislocated kneecap. Likely doesn't need surgery right now, considered week 2 week. The Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick with a hamstring injury. He is out for Thursday Night Football. Giants quarterback Tyrod Taylor, he is week 2 week with his hamstring injury, or his rib injury. My bad, rib injury. And Bears quarterback Justin Fields with his thumb, he remains week 2 week. And then Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has a UCL injury in his right thumb. He is day to day. An extension. We have some money getting thrown around. The Packers, they signed defensive linebacker Rashawn Gary to a 4-year, $107 million extension, $34.6 million signing bonus, which is fully guaranteed there. Big money move. Rashawn Gary, the future of the Packers pass rush there. So good move for Green Bay. They lose Rasul Douglas in the trade today, but get Rashawn Gary locked up for the future. And a couple signings. The Bills, they signed Buccaneers running back Leonard Fournette to their practice squad. And the Jets getting some help on the offensive line. They signed two-time Pro Bowl guard Roger Saffold III to their practice squad. Last played for the Bills in 2022. Thursday Night Football, or pick standings here. We all got it right last week. Picking the Bills, I believe, was the last. Yes, we all got the Bills right over the Bucks last week. So Jimmy continues to lead 6-2 on the year. 1 game above Logan at 5-3, and 2 games above me at 4-4. And Jimmy is going with the rookie this week, Will Levis at the Steelers. Titans at the Steelers. Steelers getting 2.5 points at home here. And of course, we'll get Jimmy's lone wolf there. I am just cautioning Jimmy that once again, the Steelers at home for 1. For 2, I do not trust a rookie quarterback against this defense. I don't care if Minkah Fitzpatrick is out. I don't care if DeAndre Hopkins on the other side. I don't care if Derrick Henry is going to run the ball. He has to go up and he has to throw the ball against TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Not going to happen. I think TJ Watt thrives in prime time, and the Steelers have had the Titans number for years. So give me Pittsburgh at home. Logan, you and I we're gonna reel Jimmy back in. This is his second lone wolf on Thursday night slate this year. We got to make him 1-1 to reel him back in, and you can tie him, and I'll get 1 game back with my lone wolf loss. And that is the show for today, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Next week, we'll talk in NFL Week 10. We will officially be halfway through the season. We'll have all your NFL and NCAA news, as well as all your college football and NFL game recaps. And, of course, Thursday night game next week. I will be at that game, Panthers at the Bears in Chicago at Soldier Field. Super hyped to see Soldier Field and watch the Panthers play in person for the first time ever. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, at FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, and X, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at Football Addicts and Non. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all back for Football Friday.